It's been 5 days since our baby was born. Without any prior communication, my husband Aaron suddenly showed up and thrust divorce form in front of me. Just because you had a baby, don't you dare get all high and mighty. If I divorce you, you'd be in trouble, right? You can't possibly raise a child all by yourself, can you, huh? At the peak of my anger, I snatched the divorce form from Aaron. Tearing it up is pointless. You're destined to be my maid, he said with a snort. Ignoring his mocking laughter, I signed the divorce form and said, "Fine, let's get divorced." What? My name is Oriana, I'm 32 years old. I met Aaron, who is 3 years older than me, at work, and we've been married for 4 years. I learn, so I want you to support me. Eventually, I want you to stay home when we have kids. Aaron, having felt lonely as a child because both his parents worked, strongly wished for me to be a stay-at-home mom so our child wouldn't feel the same way. I agreed with his view and became a homemaker upon marrying. Aaron, who was over 30 when we married, wanted kids right away. I wanted some time as just a couple, but I also wanted to have children. It was a tough decision, but I convinced myself to save time for just the two of us for our golden years. However, even after 2 years, we had no baby. As I turned 30, I began to feel anxious. Aaron's irritation became apparent, and he started blaming me as if it was my fault. Why can't you have kids when you're just a homemaker? There are plenty of working women who get pregnant. You're in such a privileged position yet can't get pregnant. Who do you think you are? Despite his words, it's not like I didn't want to get pregnant. Pregnancy isn't affected by whether one works or not, but Aaron acted as if it was all my fault. He seemed to relieve his frustration by ordering me around. You don't have kids and just laze around all day. You should be able to do this much. Stop being lazy. His demands for household chores became increasingly unreasonable, treating me like a maid. With no close friends nearby since we lived far from my hometown, my only outings were for grocery shopping. Having no job, I had almost no money of my own. I felt suffocated in my daily life. It wasn't just Aaron driving me to the edge. 2 years into our marriage without a pregnancy announcement, Aaron's parents also started inquiring. My in-laws would ask, "Any grandkids yet?" And my husband would blame me, "It's your fault we don't have kids." With no one to rely on, I had to bear the pressure alone. Such a life led me to increasingly darker thoughts. But the seemingly endless days finally came to an end. Finally, I got pregnant. The pregnancy test clearly showed a positive line. Tears of joy rolled down my cheeks. I finally got pregnant. Trying to contain my excitement, I took a photo of the pregnancy test and sent it to Aaron. I was hoping that once he knew I was pregnant, Aaron would return to his old self. With that hope, I sent the photo, but Aaron's reply never came. When he came home late at night, he handed me his bag and jacket as usual. He seemed no different. Didn't he see the photo? Aaron sat on the sofa without a word and started watching TV. As dinner remained silent, I decided to start the conversation. "Aaron, I sent you the photo. Did you see it? I'm pregnant, you know. Finally, we can have a baby." Holding back my tears that were about to overflow, I smiled at Aaron. But his gaze remained fixed on the TV. Eventually, without changing his expression, he said, "Okay." What? Just only that? Why isn't he happy? Why doesn't he seem joyful? I couldn't comprehend it at all. Indescribable emotions overwhelmed me. "Hey, it's our child, aren't you happy? You always said you wanted a child. You were hoping for it for so long, right?" I sought his agreement, as if to dispel my anxiety. He should be happy, he should be joyful, he should feel the same as me. That's what I wanted to believe. But Aaron's response shattered my expectations. "Don't get cocky just because you're pregnant. How long do you think you made me wait? Don't expect me to be kind just because you're pregnant. You're not working. As usual, you'll take care of the household chores." I had no intention of expecting kindness or slacking off in household chores. All I wanted was to hear "I'm happy" from Aaron. But instead of joy, tears of sadness began to flow. Ignoring me, Aaron went to the bedroom without saying anything. Why couldn't he be happy? He wanted a child so much. When I went to the obstetrician, I found out I was pregnant with twins. But Aaron showed no sign of happiness. Perhaps it didn't feel real yet since my belly wasn't big. Surely, he'll gradually realize it as my belly grows. I convinced myself of that. As weeks passed, morning sickness began, and I was constantly sleepy. Even in such a state, Aaron didn't care about my condition and didn't help with household chores. Then, at a checkup, a shocking truth hit me. You're at risk of a miscarriage. Try to rest as much as possible. The word miscarriage darkened my world, but learning that there was still hope for the babies, I took a deep breath. The doctor's instruction was rest at home. I needed Aaron's cooperation. I contacted him immediately, but like when I reported my pregnancy, there was no reply. When Aaron came home, I told him about the checkup, but his attitude remained unchanged. After several days of consideration, I decided to go back to my parents' house. That night, Aaron told me, "Don't laze around too much at your parents' house and get fat, okay? And remember, when you come back, you're doing household chores as usual, got it? Be careful not to slack off too much." On the day I was returning to my parents' house, Aaron had left early in the morning, even though we wouldn't see each other for a while. Later, with my parents' support, I was told at a few checkups that there's no more concern. That was the only relief. When I contacted Aaron to report the checkup results, he answered the phone with an unhappy voice, saying, "Fine, good for you. Bye." That was right before Aaron hung up the phone when I heard a woman's voice over the phone. "Aaron, who are you talking to?" It was unmistakable. The woman was clearly calling Aaron's name. I had a feeling that Aaron no longer loved me. I didn't want to admit it, but hearing that woman's voice, I had no choice but to accept it. His cold behavior all this time suddenly made sense. While caressing my growing belly, I made a decision. Let's get a divorce, and I'll raise these twins myself. After being cooped up at home for about 2 months, I decided to go for a walk. It was a warm, sunny day with the fresh greenery shining brightly. Just then, I was suddenly approached from behind. The person who called out to me was my childhood friend, Lincoln. Seeing him for the first time in years, he happily invited me for coffee. After reminiscing about old times, we updated each other on our current lives. Lincoln had become an attorney and just opened his own small office. Hearing about his job gave me an idea. By the way, infidelity can lead to claims for compensation, right? I accidentally blurted out, and Lincoln's expression immediately turned serious. "What's wrong? If you have any troubles, I'm here to listen." Before I knew it, I was revealing my innermost feelings that I hadn't shared with anyone. My struggles to get pregnant, Aaron's indifference, and his affair with another woman. As I spoke, tears started to well up in my eyes. "I see, you've had a tough time." Lincoln's words made the tension snap. And despite my age, I burst into tears without caring who saw. "Calm down. It's okay. I'm here to help." Lincoln comforted me desperately. "First, we need to gather evidence. Without proof of the affair, we can't fight." "Evidence? Anything. We need to collect physical proof." "Can I do it?" "Do you want me to refer you to a detective agency I work with? They're experienced in gathering evidence for divorce cases." "Thank you, that would be a great help." Following Lincoln's advice, I hired a detective to gather evidence of the affair. According to the detective agency, taking advantage of my absence, Aaron had almost moved in with his mistress at our home. The mistress turned out to be a team member working at the same company with him, just 3 years into her job. Since Aaron and I worked at the same company, his marital status was well known. It seems she was involved with him despite knowing he was married. Moreover, their affair had been going on for 2 years. Around the time he started getting frustrated with our inability to have a baby, blaming me for not conceiving, treating me like a maid, indifferent even after I got pregnant. Despite my anxiety about my first pregnancy, he was having an affair. Knowing the truth, I was trembling with anger. That's why he wasn't happy about my pregnancy. To think he was enjoying himself while I suffered through the pregnancy. Just divorcing him wouldn't be enough. I was determined to make him pay dearly. I decided so and had several meetings with Lincoln to plan. Lincoln was very supportive, constantly concerned about my health. And right on the due date, I gave birth to healthy twins. Aaron showed up out of the blue 5 days after giving birth, just as my pain was starting to subside. "Hey, it's been a while. A 9-day hospital stay, huh? Must be nice. It's not like you gave birth on your own. You were slow to get pregnant, took a break at your parents' house, and even had a C-section. You're a failure as a woman. I couldn't believe how he could say such words to his wife who just gave birth. And he didn't even try to see the babies. I didn't want to believe this man was the father of the twins. Barely containing my anger, Aaron handed me a piece of paper. The divorce form already had Aaron's signature. You get what this means, right? If you act all high and mighty just because you had kids, it's instant divorce. You'd be in trouble if you got divorced, right? If you slack off on household chores just because you have a baby, I'll never forgive you. My husband was flaunting the divorce form right in front of me. My anger reached its peak, and I forcibly took the form from him. Tearing it up is pointless. I've got a copy. Ignoring Aaron's sneering, I took a pen out of my bag. Fine. Let's get a divorce. I've been wanting to anyway. What? I won't let this man lay a finger on my children. I just want him to leave. With that thought, I signed the divorce form. Aaron, mocking me, reached out to snatch the form. Do you even know what you're saying? If you divorce me, what will you do with these kids? You can't raise them on your own. Don't be stubborn. You should just stay my maid forever. I've already told my parents I'm getting a divorce. I'll live with them from now on. I don't need a man who cheats anyway. Let's see how long that boldness lasts. You'll regret it when you realize you can't make it without me. That's when Lincoln's voice came in. Excuse me, I'm Ariana's attorney, Lincoln. If you don't let her go right now, I'll call someone. Aaron quickly let me go at the sudden appearance of Lincoln. Who are you? An attorney. What's this about? Aaron stepped forward, raising his voice as if to intimidate Lincoln. But Lincoln wasn't shaken. He must have been through many such intense situations before. Lincoln calmly proceeded. We already have evidence of the affair. If you refuse to agree to the divorce, we will go to mediation or court. The same goes if you refuse to negotiate or pay compensation. Wait. I never agreed to a divorce. Despite being the one to initiate the divorce, now he was backpedaling. I couldn't deal with such absurdity. While Lincoln was convincing Aaron, I handed him the signed divorce form. Lincoln, please take care of this. Aaron tried to snatch it back, but Lincoln quickly put the form in his bag. I'll take care of this. Lincoln said so, remaining calm. Realizing he couldn't oppose Lincoln, Aaron turned to cling to me. Hey, you're joking, right? You can't live without me, right? Raising twins will be expensive. You'll be in trouble without me. I gave Aaron a cold look. He flinched under my gaze. You're the one who wanted a divorce. What are you talking about? I'm getting a divorce and I'll take alimony. You have no intention of doing household chores or parenting, right? I can see that. You told me to become your maid, right? You should have respect for women. Aaron stood dumbfounded at my raised voice. I delivered the final blow. From now on, if you have anything to say, talk to Lincoln. Don't bother coming here. I'll ask everyone to keep you out. We have nothing more to talk about. Get out. Hearing this, Aaron turned red and raised his fist. Don't talk to me like that. But at Lincoln's cough, he came to his senses and lowered his fist weakly. Please leave now. After Lincoln's words, Aaron left the room with his shoulders slumped. I then asked my parents to submit the divorce form, which were accepted without any issues, and I was finally officially divorced. Since Aaron wouldn't stop calling and emailing me after that day, I changed my phone number. Lincoln, as a professional, handled everything else brilliantly. I received compensation from Aaron and his mistress, so I won't have any financial troubles for a while. A few months later, they both quit the company. Their affair became known at the office, and the woman resigned immediately. Aaron was transferred to a different location, but even there, the rumors had spread, and he found no place for himself. His salary decreased, and he couldn't bear the looks from those around him, eventually leading to his dismissal for absenteeism. As for me, I returned to my parents' house. It's tough with all the new experiences, but with my parents and Lincoln's support, I'm enjoying parenting. It turns out Lincoln had feelings for me from a long time ago. He confessed, saying he didn't mind that I was divorced and had children, and asked me out. He told me to take my time with the response, but I had already made up my mind. Later, I remarried Lincoln. He treats the twins as his own children now. My parents and I can't thank Lincoln enough for supporting our family so much. I'm grateful beyond words. Now, I want to start fresh and build a happy family with Lincoln.